everyone, welcome back to Take the Snap. I'm JJ, and today I'm giving you a Hall of Fame game preview and sharing with you my quarterback tiers. Let's begin with the Hall of Fame game preview. The Hall of Fame game will be between the Jets and the Browns on August 3rd, 2023 at 8 p.m. Eastern. It will be in Canton, Ohio. You can watch the game on NBC. I think the Jets win this game 24-14. The reason I picked the Jets is because the Jets have Aaron Rodgers and they have a lot of weapons like Allen Lazard, Garrett Wilson, Randall Cobb. I know it's just preseason, but I think preseason is really important because it gets the players ready for the regular season. I'm just excited to see some more football. And I think the Browns with Deshaun Watson, Amari Cooper, and Donovan Peoples-Jones and Nick Chubb will be interesting. I'm also excited to see Jets running back Breece Hall to try to get back on the field as soon as possible. Now let's move on to my QB tiers. The way this will work is there'll be 4 tiers, each with 8 quarterbacks in them, and all 32 starting quarterbacks will be in here. So I have 4 tiers. The lowest one is unproven, then above that is bad to average quarterbacks, and then above that is good quarterbacks, and then above that is superstar quarterbacks. Let's begin. In the unproven tier, which is the lowest tier, I have Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Sam Howell, Desmond Ridder, Brock Purdy, Jordan Love, Kenny Pickett, and Anthony Richardson. Let's talk about this tier. The reason I have Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, and Anthony Richardson in here because they're all rookies, and we've only seen them in college. We haven't seen them play in the NFL yet, so I had to put them in unproven tier because we don't know the skill set yet in the NFL. The reason I put Sam Howell in here is because we haven't really seen him play yet. We haven't really seen what he can do, and he hasn't played almost none. So I think that he's unproven also. And I put Jordan Love in here because even though he's been in the league for a couple of years, he's played a game or two. He hasn't played like a full season or even like a third of a season because he just hasn't been proven yet, so we haven't seen him this season. We could see it for the first time. It's also kind of the same thing with Desmond Ridder. Like he's played like 3 or 4 games, but we haven't seen him a lot. He's been in the league for like a year or two, but this will be his first starting season. I'm just excited to see him play. I think he's unproven still. Next is an interesting one. I had Brock Purdy in this tier, which some people might argue that's not true, but he played only 8 games last season, and then he won almost all of them besides the one against the Eagles in the playoffs, but he got injured, and I just don't think he's proven enough. He hasn't played a full season yet, and I just think when he gets proven still, more he'll get better, and I think that he will be really good, but I just don't think we've seen him in enough games to say he's proven a lot. And last but not least in this tier is Kenny Pickett. And this one would shock a lot of people. And I was hesitant to put him in here at first. But then I realized he's only played like 1 season. And he had a lot of good weapons around him. And he has a good coach. And I want to see him play 2 full seasons. I want to see how he can improve. He was good last season, but his team still barely missed the playoffs. I just want to see how he can improve this season. I think he's proven but not proven enough to call him a super proven quarterback. The next tier is bad to average quarterbacks. These are quarterbacks that are they're okay. They're not like really good. They're not great. They're just okay. The mid quarterbacks. And that's these quarterbacks that are next. The bad to average tier, I have Mac Jones, Russell Wilson, Ryan Tannehill, Kyler Murray, Jimmy Garoppolo, Garrett Carr, Baker Mayfield, and Deshaun Watson. Let's start with Mac Jones. Now, he might lose his job this year. He's just not very good. He was good his rookie season, but after that, he just kind of fell off. And I think an offensive coordinator that's actually really pretty good will be good for him this season. I think that he will have less chances with the coaches. I think this is his last season to really prove himself to Belichick and just everyone else in that coaching staff. I think if he doesn't do good this season, that he will lose his job. Next is Russell Wilson. Now, Russell Wilson, when he moved to Denver from Seattle, I was like, this is the best move ever. The Broncos are going to be amazing this season. Newsflash, they weren't last season. They were the worst teams in the league, and I don't want to blame Russell for all of it. I mean, Nathaniel Hackett, he wasn't the best coach, but I just think that this season, Russell Wilson probably improved, but I don't think he'll be like a really good quarterback. Like I said, bad to average tier. I think that he could be maybe good at best, but I just don't think that he will get back to his Seattle form. I just think that he will just be a tier quarterback. Next is Ryan Tannehill. And now this one's kind of obvious. Ryan Tannehill, he might lose his job to Will Levis. He just out of aging. He's getting older, and he relies a lot on Derrick Henry, the running back there. I just think that even though he's a decently good quarterback, he's just getting older, and that he will just be okay this season. Next is Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray, he's recovering from an injury that he had last season. I just think that he might be able to be maybe a good quarterback at best, but I just think that he just has too many injuries and that he's just not consistent enough to really consider him a really good quarterback. I think Kyler Murray, that he's after lost DeAndre Hopkins, that's not good either. His best target is Marquise Brown. And I think even though they have a lackluster wide receiver room, that Kyler Murray is still a mid-tier quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo is another person having bad to average. He's an older quarterback. He's on the Las Vegas Raiders. He's just okay. He's nothing spectacular. I don't understand why they replaced a mid-tier quarterback in Derek Carr with another one and Jimmy Garoppolo. It just makes no sense. Jimmy Garoppolo, he has been good at times, but he's not just consistent enough like most of these quarterbacks to be considered a great or superstar quarterback. Next is Derek Carr. Derek Carr, he's on the Saints after getting released from the Raiders. And this is an interesting one. Derek Carr, he's had a good career. He's had a decent career, solid. But he's like all these quarterbacks, he's not consistent enough to be considered a great or superstar quarterback. He's an okay quarterback, but he's not consistent enough. Consistency is key, and he doesn't have that consistency. Next is Baker Mayfield for the Buccaneers. He's had an interesting career so far. He started out on the Browns, and then went to the Panthers, and now he's on the Buccaneers. He's been gone to two other teams because he's not that good. He's okay. He's not unproven. He's proven himself, but he's just not the best. He's a solid starting quarterback in this league, but beyond that, he can't do any amazing plays. He's just not like a superstar or a great quarterback. To finish the category, we have Deshaun Watson, Browns. Deshaun Watson, he used to be like a really good quarterback, like top 10 quarterback in the league. He's on the Texans, but he's never going to go back to that form when he was the Texans. When he was with the Texans, he was just making amazing plays. He was a really good passer. But now he has off-the-field problems. He was suspended last season. And we all agree that he's never going to go back to the form he was with the Texans. So now he's just a mid-quarterback. The next category is great quarterbacks. Not superstars, just great quarterbacks. In the great quarterbacks categories, Aaron Rodgers, Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford, Geno Smith, Justin Fields, and Daniel Jones. Let's start with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, he could be considered a superstar quarterback, but in my opinion, he's not. He just barely missed the cut. He's a really good quarterback. He has a really good team around him, and I just think he'll do amazing things this year. I think might make the playoffs. I just think Aaron Rodgers, he's one of the best older quarterbacks in the league. The next quarterback is Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott, he's had a solid career. He has been somewhat good. He hasn't been as consistent as I would like. He has too many interceptions sometimes. But sometimes he's really, really good. If he can come back on the interceptions, then I think he could be a superstar quarterback. Next is Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins, he was really good in one-score games last year. His team went 11-0 in one-score games. I think if they can just keep that up and keep doing that, and he can prove that he can go really good and win his division and make the playoffs and win a playoff game or two, then I think he could be considered a superstar quarterback. The next QB is Jared Goff from the Lions. Jared Goff, he's much like Matthew Stafford. He was good early on. He's okay now. He's not the greatest, not the worst. He's just a good quarterback. So he used to be on the Rams, but then he got traded to the Lions and trade. Rams received Matthew Stafford. The next one is interesting. It is Geno Smith from the Seahawks. So Geno Smith, he became the starter after Russell Wilson got traded from the Seahawks to the Broncos last season. And everybody was like, Geno Smith should do so bad. Geno Smith's not going to win 80 games. Poor Seahawks. And the Broncos are doing really bad with Russell Wilson. But the Seahawks ended up making the playoffs with Geno Smith. And Geno Smith, he had a Pro Bowl season. He's a really good quarterback. He used to be a backup in the league, but now he's a starter for the Seahawks, and they think that he can do really good. I think he can do really good. Now it's time for Justin Fields. Justin Fields is the Bears starting quarterback. He's still a young quarterback, and I think that he could be a superstar someday. He's really good at running. He's had not good wide receivers for the past couple of seasons. And now they went out and got him DJ Moore. This is the season for him to prove that he can be a really good passer, not just a really good runner. I think that he'll be really good this season, and I think that he can be a superstar quarterback maybe in the future, but now having the great category. To round off the great category, I have Daniel Jones, quarterback, Giants. Daniel Jones, he's been really good last season with Saquon Barkley and them. They made the playoffs. They won the playoff game against the Giants. And nobody expected that. Everybody expected them to miss the playoffs and just to rebuild the season. But they shocked everybody with no coach Brian Daboll. And I think that Daniel Jones, he's a really good quarterback. And I just think that he will excel this season. Do I think that he is a superstar? No. Do I think he's a really good quarterback that will be very successful? Yes. Now it is time for the superstar tier. In the superstar tier, I have Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, and Tua Tagovailoa. Let's begin with Patrick Mahomes. I have Patrick Mahomes in this category because he's the best quarterback in football right now. It's pretty obvious. Patrick Mahomes, he's amazing. He can do it all. He's just a really good, really athletic, really dynamic quarterback. Next is Joe Burrow. I have Joe Burrow in here because he's one of the best pocket passer quarterbacks in the league. He can just do it all. He can just throw the ball well. He has a great wide receiver around him. He basically has all you can ask for. He was the number one overall pick. Everybody knew he was going to be amazing when he came out of college. He's just a really good quarterback in general. I think that he's one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the league. Next, I have Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, he's an interesting one. At first, he wasn't doing real good. He was doing okay in the playoffs. But then he was doing really good last season. Amazing season. He can run with his legs really well. He can do a lot. And I just think he's a really good quarterback. And I also have Lamar on here for the same reason. Lamar Jackson, he can run with his legs. He needs to prove his pass a little bit and come back on injuries. But I think when he does that, he might be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I think he is already. And next I have Tua Tagovailoa. Tua, he's had injuries and concussion problems recently. But he's just a really good player. He has Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle around him. He relies on them a lot, but still he's a really good quarterback, one of the best in the league. And I think that he will go out this season. If he can limit back on injuries, he could possibly lead his team to the playoffs and win a game or 2. Next is Josh Allen. The people are being a little low on Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills because of the quote-unquote humiliating loss last season. I don't think it was that bad of a loss in the playoffs versus the Bengals. I just think they went out there, they gave out the wall, and they just couldn't pull out at the end of the day. I think Josh Allen, he's still one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I just think he's amazing. He can really cut back on the mistakes just a little bit. Then I just think he could be potentially a top 3 quarterback in this league, and I think he might be already. Next is Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert is the Los Angeles Chargers quarterback. Justin Herbert, he is one of the best deep ball passers in the league, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He doesn't have amazing talent around him, but he still manages to do it. Justin Herbert, he can just chuck a ball, and I just think that really helps when you can just throw the ball in the field really well. I think that if the Chargers can stop choking in the playoffs, then they could potentially go out there and make the AFC Championship. And last but not least, Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence, he's the young one of the group. Came out of college, everybody knew that he was probably going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and he is. I mean, it took him a year, but he's amazing last season. The second half of last season, he came back and won in the playoffs, like a 28-point deficit. I just think that Trevor Lawrence, he's turning out to be a great young star, and that's good. That's what you want early with a quarterback. And I think that the Jacksonville Jaguars, even though they started off rocky with Trevor Lawrence, that Trevor Lawrence is going to be a really good quarterback, and I think he's a superstar in the league already. That's it for our quarterback tiers and for this episode. Thanks for listening to Take the Snap.